Good evening. Sign. Release. Varuna, Urana, Swayam. I just need to cross in. What should I do? You are cancel. What is this? Story of village Palampur, first chapter, right? Is it visible to you? Yes. Why don't you come this way? Because in some cases the fonts might be a little small. Let me introduce you. My name is Rakhi. And you are from which schools? Right. And Chandra. Yes? Neeru. Neeru was in her 11th grade, she did from KPG. And Ryan, she was in Ryan till her 10th. And I'm an ex-teacher of Ryan Thandler. You Munira's must be teaching in something. Yes. What? This year? Yes. This year? Yes. She was from Thandler, so that's why I have to do it. I was there from almost 2005 to 2016. Okay, so what's the chapter? Yes, the story of village. What do you know about the chapter about Palanpur? You must have done something in school, some kind of correction.
Actually, economics is not started. So,
So Palanpur is basically a hypothetical village. Hypothetical means imaginary village, okay? So they've given all details about this village as to what are the other villages next to it, how many families are there, how do they carry out their daily activities, okay, trade, what about the infrastructure, in what ways it developed, what about the schools there, what about health centers, what are the facilities there, okay. Then we move on to farms, what kind of farms do they have, etc. What crops do they grow, all nitty-gritties of it. Okay. So overview, introduction to some basic concepts related to production through a hypothetical village called Palanpur. The village also has several other activities such as small scale manufacturing. Here you can see a small scale industry there, some kind of a handicraft industry. Okay, they're making cloth. They have those looms there. Then they have dairy, transport, etc. is carried out on a limited scale. You can see here they have these the ponies that they're carrying, right? Of maybe grains or vegetables, etc. They're carrying these sacks to the probably to Palanpur from another town to take it there in the market. Or maybe it's the produce of Palanpur which is being taken to another market for trade. So that is carried out on a limited scale. So what does this tell you about Palanpur? What is the level of development in Palanpur?
like it's very small.
It's small, it's a rural area, but it's not all that undeveloped also. Because they are having small scale industry, they are having transport, they have dairy. Okay. Now, a few more details about this town. Palanpur is very connected with neighboring villages and towns. Okay, so there are two. One is Raiganj. A big village is 3 kilometers from Palanpur. Okay, so you have Palanpur, and you have one that is Raiganj, which is how far?
3 kilometers.
3 kilometers away from Palanpur, and then further on to the nearest small town of Shahapur. Then somewhere there is also a small town called Shahapur. That's a small town. So this is important, no, connectivity, so that you are able to carry on your trade and transport and all. An all-weather road connects the village to Raiganj and further on to the nearest small town of Shahapur. All-weather road means it's not a kacha road. Okay? It's a road on which vehicles can ply. You can see this road here. There's a bullock cart there. There's also a tractor running. So they have motor vehicles as well. See, many kinds of transport are visible on this road, starting from bullock carts, tongas, bogies. What are bogies? Wooden carts drawn by buffaloes. Here you can see this vehicle there. So that's the cart, the bogie. loaded with jaggery or gur, which means what they must be producing? Which crop? Sugarcane. They have, see, the crops that they grow are these: wheat, bajra, sugarcane, and potato. Okay. So they carry their the sacks loaded with good or jaggery and other commodities. So you can see there those vehicles, two motor vehicles like motorcycles, jeeps, tractors, trucks, etc. Now Palampur is fairly connected with a well-developed system of roads, transport, electricity, irrigation, schools, and healthcare centers. So what all is there? Roads, good system of roads, transport, electricity, schools, healthcare centers. So it has more or less everything that one needs. So it has a good network of roads, transport and vehicles, electricity, because see, we spoke about them doing the small scale industries, how will those run? Or they're having the dairy. So for dairy also you will need refrigerators and things like that which need electricity. So it has all those provisions. Schools it has, and healthcare centers. Here you can see there's a school. This is the healthcare center. Now, the story of Palampur takes us through the different types of production activities in the village. In India, farming is the main production activity across villages. Now, 450 families. Now, about the people living there. 450 families belonging to several different castes live over here. How many? How many people?
450 families.
450 families from different castes. The 80 upper caste families own the majority of land in the village. How many? 80 are the
Upper caste.
80 families are upper caste. Upper caste. So that's how many? What percent? What would the half of 450 be? 225. What is the half of 225?
110,
Correct. And this is 80. So that's like 1/4, less than 1/4 also. Okay. So less than even 25%. So these families, they own they are in number they are less than 25, but they own the majority of the land. So is there equitable distribution, do you think? They cannot be, no, which means the remaining, how many families are left? 450 minus 80. 370. So which means this 80%, 80 families own major part of the land. Okay. Which means the remaining big number own even lesser land. So how they must be surviving? So that is not an equitable distribution of wealth. Okay. The houses in some of their houses, some of them quite large. Which houses? The houses of these 80 families. Okay. Some of them are quite large, made of brick with cement plastering. So how are the houses? They are large, made of cement and brick. Means strong houses. Now, the SCs or Dalits, these were the upper caste families. Now we talk about the
Then
SCs or the Dalits. One third of the population is SCs. One third is how much? 450 divided by 3. How much is it? 150. So 150 families are SCs. Now they live in one corner. One third. That's a big number here. Okay. They live in one corner of the village. So they live in live in one corner. And how are their houses? Mud and stone. Mud and stone. Mud and straw, not even stone. Mud and straw. So means you can understand. These are kacha houses which can break any time. And these are of a majority of the people, one third of the people. And they are living in one corner. Whereas this 80 upper class families, where ownership of land is concerned, they own the major part of the land, being small in number. Their houses are large. These people's houses are small. And it is made up of cement and brick. Nice houses. Whereas here it is made up of mud and stone. So you can make out that something is wrong here, something unfair. So here this talks about equitable distribution. So we should have development means you should have an equal distribution. Now, most of the houses have electric connection. Electricity powers all the tube wells in the fields and is used in various types of small businesses. Okay, so where electricity is concerned, they have 2 primary schools and 1 high school. So where education is concerned, they have the facilities. Primary health center run by the government and 1 private dispensary where the sick are treated. Okay. Now we come to organization of production, or you can also call it as factors of production. What are they? Factors of production. What are they? Land, labor, physical capital, and human capital. What is it? Land, labor, physical capital, and human capital. Okay? Or you can also say land, labor, capital, and enterprise. This is also known as enterprise. So land, labor, capital, enterprise, or land, labor, physical capital, human capital. Here you can see land is clear. Labor, you will have unskilled labor and skilled labor. So here the nurse over here, what type of labor is that? Skilled. And the other man here standing with that plow?
Skilled.
That is unskilled, no? Those people who work, at construction sites, digging, this, that, those are unskilled. Capital?
Yes.
Capital includes the money that you're putting in and the machines, okay, all the things that you need. And enterprise. Enterprise is people. Without people, how can you have anything? Okay, so land, this includes land and other resources like water, forests, minerals, etc. Labor, people who will do the work, which includes skilled labor and unskilled labor. Like in this place in Palampur, you would have skilled labor because you have the school where you will have teachers, you have the dispensary where you have doctors and nurses. Okay, and you will have unskilled working in the farms. Working capital, So physical capital includes fixed capital and working capital. Fixed capital is what is fixed? Tools, machines, buildings. Working capital is what they need running. They'll need raw materials and they'll need money in hand to run the business.
Yes.
That is working capital. And human capital. What is human capital? Knowledge and enterprise. You can see here the thing of the bubble of idea. There's this guy, the scientist, and here this another guy who's thinking has a bulb over his head. So he's creating. So 4 requirements for production of goods and services. So they are known as, it's known as organization of production, or it is also known as factors of production. Now farming in Palampur. I'll take you through the main points first. Land is fixed. Okay, so we talk about how they can produce more. Is there any one way? Is there a way one can grow more from the same land? They want to increase their income. Now, at any time you want to develop further better than what you are. Then, will the land sustain? How is land distributed between the farmers? How is it distributed? Who will provide the labor? Capital needed in farming. Sale of surplus farm products. Surplus means extra, which they will sell and make profits. So sale of surplus farm products. That's it. And then you have non-farming activities in Palampur. So now we'll come to farming. This part you understood, no? Whatever we've done till now. So, farming in Palampur. So first point that we speak about is land is fixed. And the second point is there a way one can grow more from the same land? Is there a way one can grow more from the same land? They cannot increase it, no? How can they increase their production? Yeah. So in Palampur village, farming is the main production, and the well-being of these people is related to the production on the farm, because they are mainly earning through agriculture. But there is a basic constraint. Constraint means
something that holds back.
yes, something that holds them back. Restrictions in raising farm production. What is that main constraint? That your land area is fixed. Like if you're living in a house and you start accumulating more things in the house and you fall short of space, you cannot increase the, you cannot break the wall and increase it unless you have extra FSI and all that. But in a normal circumstance, you cannot. So what will you do? You'll make some adjustments within the house, right? Probably you'll try to remove a few things to make it more spacious. Okay, so you have to make some adjustments within those confines. So, is there a way one can grow more from the same land? Now, what these people grow in the rainy season, that is Kharif crops. They grow jawar and bajra, followed by the cultivation of potato between October and December. Winter, they grow wheat, and a part of the land is devoted to sugarcane harvested once every year. So they are growing a mix of different crops. Then well-developed irrigation they need, correct? So that they get water supply regularly. So farmers can grow 3 different crops. Electricity, which transformed the system of irrigation. In what way? In what way did electricity transform the system of irrigation?
Hydroelectric.
Why do you need water for electricity for irrigation?
Because the water will only run the turbine or the fans.
How will the water be pumped out? You need electricity for that.
Yes.
If it's a tube well, how is it going to be pulled up? It won't come on its own. So for that you need electricity. So because they have a good electricity system of electricity, because of that irrigation also has been helped. Then multiple cropping. They do multiple cropping. What is multiple cropping? Growing more than one crop on a piece of land. Okay, they started doing that. So that on one piece of land they can grow different types of crops. That also helps with the fertility. If they grow the same crop throughout, it reduces fertility of the soil. Now, another way of higher yield. Higher yield, what do we mean by higher yield?
Higher production.
Higher production. Another way of higher yield is modern farming. Modern farming, changing your technique and getting more production, more output. In the later 1960s, the Green Revolution introduced the Indian farmers to cultivation. You must have heard of Green Revolution, somewhere or the other, at least in your subjects when studying. So what that did is it introduced the Indian farmer to cultivation of wheat and rice using high yielding varieties or HYV seeds. HYV seeds were like those high quality seeds, okay, because of which they used to get a better output. Also, because of the Green Revolution, not just seeds, they also started giving farmers loans at low interest rates. So they could borrow and carry on with their investment on agriculture. So here you can see in this picture, what can you see? Can you read? What can you see? Modern farming methods. Here what can you see? Irrigation, canals, pump sets,
electricity,
and dams. Then pesticides. This was a part of the Green Revolution. Okay. So now later we'll come to this point, see, where we'll talk about will the land sustain. So for now they felt that okay, we'll use pesticide, we're able to use it, the crops are growing better and faster, so let's use it. Then fertilizers also, HYV seeds, what is the full form?
high yielding
High yielding variety of seeds. Then farm machinery, tractors and all that, and diesel to run those vehicles. Now, next point is, will the land sustain and how is land distributed between the farmers of Palanpur? So, third point is, will the land sustain? The next point is, how is land distributed between the, so just as we saw this, no?
Yes.
Somewhat the same. Okay. So, how is land distributed between the farmers of Palanpur? So these parts you all remember remember, no, what was this? Land is fixed. Land is fixed. So what should they do to increase their production? So is there a way one can grow more from the same land? How will they grow more? HYV seeds, fertilizers, pesticides, multiple cropping. So now next is, will the land sustain? Sustain means? Yes, will it be able to maintain that level of quality that it has now? See here, what does this picture show you? Hidden dangers of chemical fertilizers. Okay. And this is water table drawn down and recovery after pumping. So it is affecting even the water table. So will the land sustain? Now modern farming methods have overused the natural resource base. Okay, like you can see here, the water table is getting affected because there is over exploitation, overuse or over exploitation of our resources. So how long is it going to sustain? And fertilizers. Due to the increased use of chemical fertilizers, the soil lost its fertility. Natural resources, like for example, say if in your house there are some, we use the spray, the hit spray we use, right? So that's helpful for the mosquitoes, but ultimately it affects us, correct? Would you stay in the room, the fumes? You wouldn't usually even stay in the room, you shut the door and move out because it's affecting you. So here in this case, because we are spraying it on the ground, the earth is getting affected and including the water. Because from the soil it is carried, like it rains, it's in the soil. And then the same water is carried, in the pesticides get mixed with the water and it is carried forward to the rivers and the seas. So everything is getting polluted. So natural resources like soil fertility and groundwater are destroyed. And it is very difficult to restore them. How do you restore it back? You cannot. Now, how is land distributed between the farmers of Palampur? What can you see here?
The bigger ones are the upper caste ones, the smaller ones are the lower caste SCs.
Yeah, or maybe the SCs don't have also, they are the smaller ones, like they are divided land holdings. Okay, and these obviously would be those minority people. Yeah. So see over here, what can you see in this pie chart? Distribution of cultivated area and farmers. On one side you can see cultivated area and the other side you can see number of farmers. Okay, this here see the key. Grey color shows small farmers less than 2 hectares. Okay, small farmers less than 2 hectares, and the yellow color is medium and large farmers more than 2 hectares. Okay, so here number of farmers, small farmers are how many? How many percent this grey color? 80% small farmers, and the medium and large are 20%. This is the number of farmers. But what about the cultivated area? This grey part, okay, that is the small farmers, that is 80%. They own only 36% of the land. Whereas this 20% own 64% of the land. So that's not equally distributed, no? So how is land distributed between the farmers of Palampur? Land is important for any kind of farming. In Palampur, about 1/3 of the 450 families are landless. 1/3 means how many? What? You had said that earlier. SCs. So 1/3 of the families are landless. So 150 families, which is the same as these Dalits, We said that they're put in one column. They don't have anything of their own. So these people are how many remaining?
353. So 300.
300. Remaining 300. Okay. So which means the remaining part of the land is owned by these 300 families. Now, Dalits have no land for cultivation. 240 families cultivate small plots of land less than 2 hectares in size. In Palampur, there are 60 families of medium and large farmers who cultivate more than 2 hectares of land. So, which means a small part of the big family, small part of that population owns major part and the bigger plots of land. So that is not equitable distribution, right? Is that equal? Not fair, not equal. Now about labor. Who will provide the labor? After land, labor. We spoke about the factors of production. No? What are the factors of production? Land, labor, capital, and enterprise. This is capital. Okay, land, labor, capital, and enterprise. So here we spoke about the distribution of land. Now we speak about okay. So labor. After land, labor is the next necessary factor of production. You have the land. Who's going to work on your land? Labor. So that's why labor is the next important thing. If you have land and you don't have people to work, correct? No use. So after land, labor is the next necessary factor of production. Or even where some industry is concerned, if you have a building, you have the machines, you need labor there also, no? So small farmers along with their families cultivate their own fields. Small farmers, they cannot afford to hire labor. Thus, they provide the labor required for farming themselves. We have a small family, we have our own land, we will only go and do agriculture, we will not hire anybody else. Medium and large farmers hire farm laborers to work on their fields. Because why? They are small in number, but they have a lot of land. So they are going to need to hire people to work on their fields. Now, farm laborers will not have any right over the crops grown on the land. Obviously, they'll work, they'll get their daily wages, whatever it is, and they will go. They won't have any right over the crops that have grown. They will be paid on wages for their work, which can be cash or in kind. Example, crops. In kind means cash is money, and in kind means crops. Like the same value of money that you would have got, of the same value you are given crops in return. That okay, we are not giving you money, but we are giving you rice, which he will use for his family. Okay, so it may be in cash or in kind. Sometimes laborers get meals also. Sometimes, not always. Otherwise, they have to get it from their houses. Wages vary from region to region, crop to crop, one farm activity to another. Farm laborers are employed on a daily basis or for one particular farm activity, like harvesting, or for the whole year. So they may have work for the whole year, but it is also possible that they will have work only when there is some kind of harvesting going on. Okay. This now page 8 of the text is open. So Dala and Ramkali. You have the book? You have this image there? See? Again share the picture. poverty are among the poorest natives of the village. They are having a conversation. What are they saying? One will be Dala, will be Ramkari. One will be Dala, one will be Ramkari. Okay? So you will be Dala, you will be Ramkari. Doesn't matter. First Dala, what is he saying? Say?
It is difficult to find work these days. Only the large farmers hire us, and that too for a very limited number of days.
The large farmer has just bought a harvester, so we are going to get even this food during the harvest season this year. Last year, I worked for less than 5 months in the whole year.
So what is she saying? That last year also I worked out of the 12 months, I worked for less than 5 months. So no regular income for them. And also she is saying that Ghanshyam, what has he got? He's got a harvester, so which means the harvester is going to do their job. They won't be hired. Then?
We have tractors for plowing, harvesters for harvesting, threshers for threshing. Even for removing weeds, some farmers lay weedy side.
So that is also done, everything is done by machines. Then?
This year, I will have to look for the.
No, then that he's saying. I owe the local
money lender rupees 2000. I had taken rupees 1000 last summer when no work was available in the fields. How will I ever repay? I hardly earn enough for 2 square meals.
So what is he saying? He owes the money lender 2000 rupees. I had taken 1000 last summer when no work was available. Means they don't have regular work. They are also in debt. They are taking loans and they are not able to repay those loans back.
This year, I will have to look for work in a brick making in
Raiganj.
My situation is not much better. Due to past debt, the money lenders refuse to give me any loan.
So because already there is so much debt, they are also not giving her any more loans because she is not able to repay it. And this part is here for the 40
I guess it's labor.
Yeah, below that, no? Yeah. Read it, one of you all.
Laborer might be employed on a daily basis.
A farm laborer.
A farm laborer might be employed on a daily basis, or for one particular farm activity like harvesting, or for the whole year. Dala is a landless farm laborer who works on daily wages in Palanpur. This means he must regularly look for work. The minimum wages for a farm laborer set by the government is rupees 300 per day, March 2017. But Dala gets only rupees 160. There is heavy competition for work among the farm laborers in Palanpur. So people agree to work for lower wages. Dala complains about his situation in Ramkali, who is another farm laborer. Both Dala and Ramkali are among the poorest people in the village.
So how much money is he getting?
160.
And how much is he supposed to get?
300.
300. So it's like almost half of what he is supposed to get, he is getting. Capital needed. This part you understood till here?
Yes, ma'am.
Land is fixed. Is there a way one can grow this? We will take up in the next class as well. So already quite a bit into you all. So just we'll revise everything once. So land is fixed. Is there a way one can grow more?
Yes.
What was this? HYV. Fertilizers, pesticides. In the land sustain, what was there?
Like slowly getting less fertile.
Depleted, soil will get less fertile. It will lose its fertility and water table, correct, because we are over exploiting our resources. So will the land sustain? And also we spoke about the pollution of the water because of those pesticides. How is land distributed between
The farmers.
the farmers?
High caste get more land, majority of the lands, and the
Yeah.
caste gets small.
Yes, and the Dalits are, they are More in number. They are 150, one third.
But they have no land.
They don't have any land of their own. So it is not equally distributed. This we'll take up in the next class. Capital needed in farming, sale of surplus farm products, non-farm activities in Palampur. And there is this one, identify the sequence. This is generally a flow chart. The story of village Palampur. See this: factors of production, land, labor, physical capital, human capital. Physical capital is fixed capital and working capital. Working capital means what? Working capital?
The money and the
The raw materials. And physical fixed capital is?
buildings.
Buildings.
Which is fixed.
Yes, which is buildings, machinery, and all those things. And human capital is also divided into
Investments, knowledge.
skilled and unskilled. Skilled and unskilled.
Yes.
Then land distribution, you have all these people: small farmer, medium farmer, large farmer, and the landless laborers, which are these who are 150, one third, and they have no land and they are pushed to one corner. This we didn't do. Capital requirements: save money, borrow money, save money. This we'll take up in the next class. Okay, large and medium farmers borrow money, small farmers and landless people. And then this farming activities we did. So farming activities, what do you have? Multiple cropping. What is multiple cropping?
Cropping
Different crops at different times. Modern methods, what are they? HYV seeds, fertilizer, farm machinery. And also you have water, irrigation, dams, canals, pump sets. In this part remaining, what is there, we'll pick up in the next class. Till then, just go through your books. Once just revise everything properly. If you have any doubts, clear it down. Ask me. See in the UP volume, it's given very well in that. It's given in point form, so it becomes easy for you to understand. See, in introduction, organizations of production, land, labor, capital, enterprise, farming activities, non-farm activities. This we have to do: dairy, small scale shopkeepers, transport. Then about the village of Palampur. Everything in short. So you will get an idea of everything in a nutshell. See, factors involved in the production: land, labor, physical capital, fixed capital, working capital. See this, page 77 of the volume. Are you on the same page? Okay. See the next page. Yes. Okay, then see about farming activities in Palampur, land, fixed land. So once it is explained to you, you go through this, go through the textbook of course, but go through this, you'll understand everything in one shot. That's good. See methods of increasing production, questions have been asked. revise even with using the UT volumes it will help you. How it goes, is it correct? Is it time?
It's time.
20 of history. You have a history class or you are not done?